In this lesson, we're going to begin to discuss working with text and objects together. If you'd like to follow along, go under the File menu to Open, and in the Sample Files folder, scroll down to 0901, Anchoring Objects to Flow of Text, and just click Open. The whole concept of anchoring objects into text has been around since way before InDesign existed. It's a way of making objects of any kind part of your text flow. So, if the text changes, these objects will move with the text as the text gets longer or shorter. Let me show you. This particular object in my first column of text is an anchored object. You can see that there is an anchor symbol there. I'm going to go above my subhead that's above that picture and just hit a return to add another paragraph. But you can see the picture actually moved with the text. It is a part of that text flow. Let me just delete that extra paragraph return. This is a feature I use all the time in writing my InDesign and Illustrator tutorials, because in a tutorial, the pictures need to move with the text. They go together. The text is actually describing the picture that's next to it. The way objects were anchored into InDesign before InDesign CS5 was pretty much the same since InDesign was first introduced. Why don't we talk about how it used to be done? I'm going to zoom in just a little bit by going to my zoom tool and just clicking and dragging across my first page, my left-hand page of the spread. The way you used to anchor objects, you would select the object and then cut it, which is Command X on a Mac, Control X on a PC. So let me do that. Basically what that's doing is copying the object and deleting it at the same time. Now I'm going to get an insert point at the end of that first paragraph just by double-clicking with my selection tool. And I'm going to paste Command V or Control V. Not doing exactly what I want, but that's because it's not the right kind of anchored object. It is literally pasting it in the line of text, not what I want. So I went to my selection tool and actually clicked on the picture. And you can see there is an anchor there now. And with that picture selected, I'm going to go under the Object menu to Anchored Object Options. And it's going to open the Anchored Objects Options dialog window. Right now, this is an inline graphic. Instead of an inline for position, I'm going to choose Custom. And you can see that it scooted the picture off to the left side of the frame. I'm not even going to bother going through all the information in this window because I'm not going to check Prevent Manual Positioning. Using these kinds of settings is not the easiest thing in the world to try to figure out where your object is going to end up. I'm just going to click OK. And now drag the picture to the position that I want it to have. And it's anchored. I can tell because of this dashed line. If you're not seeing that dashed line, go under your View menu to Extras and then Show Text Threads. This is showing me where this picture is actually anchored. The good news is now you can anchor objects without having to go into any dialog box at all. I'm just going to scroll down a little bit and I'm going to select this caption off to the left of my picture. And I'm going to anchor it very simply and very easily. It's exactly in the position that I want it to be in already. I'm going to click on that blue square to the upper right of my text frame and just drag it to an insert point. I'm done. It's actually anchored to this text. So if I were to add a paragraph return before that subhead, it's moving with that text. Really kind of cool. Let me hit Command Z or Control Z to get rid of that extra paragraph return. And why don't we continue looking at the rest of this document? I'm going to hit Command 0 to fit my page in the window. Why don't we go over to the right-hand page and zoom in a little bit so we can see what's going on. I'm going to go to my selection tool, click on this next image and then click on the blue square and drag it to the paragraph before. Now it's anchored into that paragraph before, exactly in the position that I originally positioned it. Let me do the same thing with this picture, and I want to anchor it to the end of my subhead. Let me click on that blue square and drag it right to the end of that subhead and let go. And you can see now it's anchored to the end of that subhead. What if I wanted to make this the symbol for the end of my story? So it's a little square and a line. Let me zoom in a little bit closer here. In order to make this into an inline graphic, so it's actually anchored in the line with this underscore, I'm going to click on that blue square and hold down my Shift key when dragging it to the end of that underscore. And now it is actually anchored. If I were to select some text and delete it, you can see that as my story gets longer or shorter, the symbol that I'm using for the end of the story is moving with the text in exactly the same position. We're going to continue discussing working with text and objects together in the next lesson.